So I spent most of 2018 in the spirit world having various conversations with interdimensional plant spirits, and they gave me a pretty comprehensive download about what's going on right now and why everyone's so lost and asleep and confused, and also why the world's a bit of a fucking mess right now. And they told me to share it with you, so here it is.
Messages from the plants.
What modern humanity is sort of going through right now is multiple levels of disconnection. Disconnection from self, from nature, from community, from ancestry, and from spirit. And once you're disconnected from these sorts of areas, then you're a lot more open to manipulation and control programs from various societal, familial, national, matrix type systems of control, thereby preventing you from really stepping into your power, finding your sovereignty, and all that sort of fucking shit. It's also that when you're disconnected from these five main levels, that you're more likely to be feeding into this current sort of consumery, sort of Wedico matrixy thing that's eating everything, because there's these voids on all five sides of your life. So you're more likely to try and fill those areas that are lacking with, consumer goods and all that sort of stuff. So the first level of disconnection is disconnection from self. This is like your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual body. A lot of us these days are stuck in our heads. We have office jobs. We don't even do much movement anymore, right? So it's all an intellectually orientated way of interpreting the world, which cuts us off from the rest of our bodies, which is a very integral part of the mechanism that will help us understand the world on a more complete way. A lot of us are cut off from our feelings because they're unpleasant sometimes, and we've been taught to suppress them out of the fear of punishment. We're also cut off from the truth of ourselves. A lot of us think that we know who we are, but a lot of the time it's just a big lie. It's just a set of control programs. It's a mask that we've kind of over-identified with too much, like a mask decorated with consumer choices. So yeah, people think they know who they are, but a lot of the time that's just a lie. Sorry. The second area of major disconnection is between ourselves and nature. Nature is an integral part of who we are. We are nature, so all the hippies were fucking right. The cliches are true. If we're not connected to nature, then we're depriving ourselves of a really vital connection to Earth, and you just don't feel good, right? I mean, I've lived in a city. I lived in a city for 30 years, and I was fucking mentally ill. You need nature. It's a fucking no-brainer. Now, the third area of disconnection is disconnection from community. A lot of us pretty isolated or living in anonymous sort of urban areas. Either that, or we're all in a community where we just hang out with the same kind of people. Like all the lawyers hang out with the lawyers, and all the bankers hang out with the bankers. All the medicine people hang out with medicine people. There's not really much room for cross-strata socialization, and I think that's pretty important to prevent the stratification of society. So all spheres are sort of interacting with each other, and yeah, it's just good to realize that you are part of something outside of yourself. Being part of a healthy community is pretty important, just for your mental and emotional health. It also just gives you strong reality checks from other people's perspectives that you can check in with. Otherwise, if you end up spending too much time by yourself, then you end up, making weird fucking videos about talking to plant spirits. The fourth area of disconnection, I think, is ancestry. A lot of us are cut off from our ancestry. We don't know where we came from, and when we don't know where we're coming from, how do we know where we're going? If you're able to sort of form a good relationship with your ancestors, I think that they'll always have your back. I'm still working on this myself, so I'm not a fucking guru or anything like that, but a lot of indigenous cultures are focused on ancestor worship, and you got to wonder why that is. On an even more scientific level, there's stuff called epigenetics, which studies the inherited trauma patterns and behavioral patterns that we soak up from our parents and our parents' parents and so on. There's basically this cascading effect of ancestrally inherited shit that we all have right now. A lot of our shit, it's not actually ours, it's hand-me-downs, like really crappy heirlooms. So that's why it's another important reason to get in touch with your ancestry. The last area of disconnection is disconnection from spirit. Now, a lot of people don't really believe in that shit because they've been brainwashed from a pretty early age, in my opinion, into the scientific materialist reductionist sort of paradigm, thinking that it's some kind of objective truth, when really it's just another subjective cultural paradigm that we've sort of been raised in, so we don't really see it as anything other than that. But I guarantee you that if you drink enough ayahuasca, you will realize that spirit is true and you can talk to it and it talks back to you. Either that or I'm completely fucking crazy. Now, it's important to connect to spirit because that's where we came from and that's where we're going to go back to when we die. So I think it's pretty important to have a connection to spirit. Like a lot of cultures say that man is a bridge between earth and spirit. So if one of those connections is broken, then you're a bit fucking lost. Now, who's behind this all? I don't really know. I mean, is there a big fucking cabal of elite, fucking rich, powerful reptilian shapeshifters? Probably. I mean, the plants kind of indicated that there was something pretty weird going on, and judging from all the conspiracies seeming to be true now, I don't really second guess that. But it's not really that important because there's nothing you can really do about the elite. You know, you're never going to meet the Illuminati, so you may as well just focus on your grassroots level and do the best that you can to sort out your own shit. So the only thing that I've worked out is check out these 5 areas of disconnection that I just mentioned and see what areas are lacking in your life and try and do something to work that out. I can't really tell you what that is. You have to sort that out yourself. I can offer you suggestions, but I'm trying to make this video short, so if you want to contact me, I can throw some more suggestions your way. I think it is interesting to note that there seems to be a systematic eradication of indigenous cultures across the world right now, and indigenous knowledge bases, of course. So I don't know if this is just a innocent byproduct, or maybe not so innocent byproduct, of the matrixy, Wedico, whatever you want to call it, the big fucking system that's eating everything. I don't know if that's just a byproduct of that, or if it's more of a malicious sort of thing. But from my research, a lot of these indigenous cultures, they're the ones who have living knowledge about how to reconnect to these 5 areas of your life. So wiping out these indigenous knowledge bases will just increase the level of disconnection going on, and that will of course help feed the current eating everything Wedico consumery system. So that's what the plants told me to tell you. I'm aware that I probably sound like a crazy person to some of you, and that's why I'm not crazy, because I'm aware of how crazy I sound to some of you, and that's fine, because it's the people who don't realize they're crazy, they're the crazy ones. And as the plants told me, the crazy people are right.
Peace.